day in the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce. How do you serve there? And then we're gonna go back and come back.
Well, thank you guys so much for the warm welcome. It was unexpected. I am the Vice President and founder of the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce. We've been operating for 14 years, February the 27th. And it brings me joy because through the chamber I've been able to connect
Pause.
with
14
people.
years. Round of applause. 14 years.
Through the chamber I've been able to connect with people in places like this, and it helps me understand really what the meaning of life is. And I don't want to sound very too deep, but it does. It did.
And so, with that meaning of life, talk about how did you get to that role of the VP of Chamber?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm from Haiti, and I came here when I was 18. I went to college in New York. I love New York because there's a lot of things happening. And I was younger, and I wanted the fast-paced life. But then I realized everybody was complaining about arthritis, back pain, knee pain, surgery, and I said, okay, I need to get to a place that is warmer for me. And so I decided to move to Florida after graduation. Though I was really thinking about going back to Haiti, but I said, well, let me make that one stop. And from there, I worked on the Y2K project with the Miami Herald, because I'm an electrical engineer.
Shout out from electrical engineers.
Back in the days when women were not involved in technology much. And with that, I started working in a corporate environment until in 2004, I had breast cancer. Okay, so my life had to slow down a little. And I wasn't happy, because like I said, I like the fast pace of New York and all. And I met, after I had cancer, gone to chemotherapy, radiation, a gentleman called Jean-Pierre Turcot, who is the president of the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce, but he worked at the airport. So this whole idea of somebody flying from New York, going to Brazil or the Dominican Republic or anywhere, but not wanting to go to Haiti, that person might want to get something, a little keepsake, a little gift that reminds him of Haiti. And I said, well, why don't we have a store at the airport? And we started talking. And from there, we decided that we wanted to have a Chamber of Commerce. So I would say that basically is wanting to connect. I always want to connect something or someone with something. And we started the chamber in 2012. When we started it, one thing that I would tell you, if you guys are business students, sometimes people are shooting craps. You know, they're sending something and they hope it's gonna stick to the wall. And you decide, well, I'm gonna start a business, and then maybe I'll find somebody who wants to franchise and do this. Our model was different, where we wanted to know who we were dealing with. So we chose our partner from the get-go because we wanted to make sure that they have the right vision. And the vision was to have the means of their politics, because we feel as though sometimes we are big in numbers, but we are not going to in the same direction. We don't have the same vision. Thus, we could talk about business philosophy. You have 20 employees, but everybody is here for a different reason. And then we feel like we're not moving. The company is not moving. And it creates an environment of toxicity. We don't want that. So we chose our partners, and oftentimes I hear that, wow, DJ and JP, they just want to hold on to the chamber. Well, we're going to hold on to it until we see it grow. It's like having a child. We wanted to move to the right direction, and the right direction is really part of our mission, which is to look out for the interests of Haiti and Haitians in general, and help them find a platform where they're visible enough for them to find the economic mobility and stability. It's one thing for you to say that, you know, I've been $1 million. Am I keeping that $1 million? And I'm sure we learned this in school. If you're not keeping that $1 million, if you're not steady, if you don't have the stability, the economic stability, you're not moving. Thus, our motto is liberty to prosperity. If you're not prosperous, you're not free, because somebody is going to decide whether you move, stay, or go back.
Yeah, so if you're not prosperous, you're not free, right? So this course is called Making Moves in Miami. So our students have various majors, but they're all part of the honors college. So it sounded to me that there was you were there. You saw not just an opportunity, but you created your own opportunities. Could you talk about how important it is to be able to create, or why should you? Well, two questions. How important is it to create your own opportunity, and how does one do that?
I'm going to refer to one of my favorite musicians who should be there soon, Jean Caz. I had the opportunity to see him play 3 times in just this month. That's my gift as a woman to myself. And each time it was different. And each time I got a message. The message that I hear through his music is purpose. How do you create this into an opportunity? By having the right foundation, I say. Making sure that you have the right people with the right skills. The right skills. Because sometimes we have people who are just there like, they're just warm body. You know, they're just moving along. In case something happened, and if it happens, they're like, oh, you know what? This is my friend. I was here.
I was here since day one. No, you weren't.
I've known him since we were little kids. But they never contributed or participated or innovated in any ways.
Or even engaged.
Even engaged. So sometimes I tell people, if I'm posting something and I have 20 of you as friends, I mean, how much does that cost you for you to give me a like? I mean, I already know you like me, but sometimes he's just like, you scrolling, you watching, but you're not engaged to just give me that like because you're afraid that another person might think, wow, I didn't know that you're a friend with TJ or such and such. So finding this opportunity is the fact that one of the things that we realized is there was not only a need, and that's how we were able to retain over 80% of our chamber members were there with us 12 years ago.
Round of applause for that.
This is really good. Because though sometimes people want to be around you along the way, but sometimes they quit too. And if you bring value, if you give value with what you do, and you do it with love, why wouldn't people want to stick with you?
Yeah,
But if they find something that they like, they find something that they enjoy, thus they will stay.
Quick questions. You talked about breast cancer,
Yes.
right? And that was a challenge you overcame.
Mm-hmm.
How talk about? I know you're an author as well, and you have a book coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the role perseverance plays in those. Talk about a challenging time, in addition to breast cancer, in the world of business and commerce, and how did you overcome that?
I would say that my breast cancer or my breast cancer diagnosis, because they were different, I would look at them as the best opportunity. Yes, there was a challenge. Now imagine my first breast cancer was in 2004, but yet I opened the chamber in 2012. So 7 years later, so oftentimes people who have to deal with the challenge of dealing with breast cancer, they feel very close to their mortality.
Yeah.
So now, if I'm gonna die, why would I just engage into something that is so big? So in that sense, it helped me define or find exactly who I am. I am somebody who would not let the disease define me, but define myself and grow with that. The challenge is sometimes, personally, I felt like people would be like, well, no, she's just gonna die soon. I don't wanna just get involved with that. Then again, I see people who were not sick die prior to that. It helped me be more humane. So being in corporate America, it's easy when you're having a business, and I think we're gonna segue into how important it is for you to have a plan. So you have a business and you're doing things, but oftentimes business owners feel like they're just alone and they have to do everything, the marketing, the accounting, everything, and even if they have to bake cake, the operation as well. And if you don't have that foundation, if you don't have those key players with you, so what happens if you're sick? Because oftentimes when you have to write a business plan, you never put or take into consideration the fact that you might not be there.
Yeah.
But yet you learn in school that when you have a business, it's immortal. You could die and leave it on and pass it on to different people, but yet you have to do it. So the challenge, the balancing of how do I do it to make sure that I leave a legacy? And the legacy doesn't have to be that the business stays there. It could be something memorable, like you were the first person to do this. It could be Prince or Bon Jovi or something like that. Jean Caz, I'm gonna go back to him. He's the first person that I saw play with the conch. Now they say in Haitian history that this was the way that they communicate through the conch by sending sound. Now even if 1 million people were to just do it now, in my mind, in my heart, I know that he was a trailblazer. He was the first person that I came across, or that I know, who did that. So that was part of some of the challenges. But I would say also, I was lucky to be the public information officer for the organization. So I'm the one that people see all the time. People are like, this is DJ's chamber, but it's not DJ's chamber, because I have 9 other members working with me. And one thing that I have to learn personally is to be able to rely on people. Oftentimes we're good at what we do, but we don't know how to delegate. I'm gonna do it because I do it best and nobody else can do it. But how do you train somebody to not become you, but to be a reliable source? We find it oftentimes, for example, we could take KFC, or we could take my friend Christine who does jewelry. I said, Christine, you're going in your 40s. You don't want to be sitting here all the time and making jewelry. You need to be able to have somebody who work for you. And we don't look at the legalities of stuff. If they have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, if you have to tell them, okay, I'm giving you my secret recipe, but you're married to me.
Yeah.
You know, we like
Protecting your intellectual property.
You protect your intellectual property. You make sure that maybe they have a share, and there's lawyers for that. We don't have to just stay in one tunnel and not realize there's arteries around us, and there are tools for us to utilize to make sure that we could move out at our pace. Because remember, beside that first cancer, I ended up having 3 other cancers. Guess what?
Say that again. How many cancers did you
I
have?
had 4 cancers altogether. First, I had the breast cancer in 2004. Then in 2015, it came back to my throat. And this is something that we have to go back to that business plan. We are not immortal. We want that business to be eternal. But then some days you're not well. Some days you could decide very early on you have an onset of Alzheimer's at 30-year-old. And how do you manage your business? So having a plan. So one of the things that I worked with, and I feel as though everything that I've done in life brought me to this place. Disaster recovery. So as an electrical engineer, so we always focus about this. You guys come to school, you're happy, but you never tell yourself, well, what if there's a bomb threat? This is not part of the process, and this is also the reason why you need to have the business plan, because it helps you understand the threats and what you have to do to prevent your baby to just crash down and burn. I don't think you want to do that. So then in 2017, after my throat, which was metastasis of the breast, I had it on both my lungs. So that's 4. But here's the thing. We could talk about faith as well. My last cancer was 8 years ago, and I decided not to take chemo. And I found alternative medicine, to cure myself, because the doctor said that I'm cancer-free. Originally, I never say that people were cancer-free, because you live with it, and then you grow with it, because it's just part of your daily decision-making. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna be in a stressful environment? Am I gonna eat what's not good for me? Am I gonna just keep on drinking milk and cheese and wine? So it's a constant, I don't wanna say it's a constant reminder, because sometimes I forget that I had cancer. Sometimes people forget that I had cancer because I don't let it define me. I get to be active, but I always remember that I have to do it at my pace. I cannot move the same way I was moving 20 years ago. And I tell my dad, who's 80 years old, I said, you don't have the same reflex. Let me drive. You know? So it's a good thing for you to have a continuity plan. Because yes, you're good at putting the cable or mowing the lawn, but when you get to a certain age, you cannot tell yourself that life is about you starting now at 18, 20 to being 70 or 90 doing the same thing. You need to be able to have a growth plan, an exit plan, a continuity plan, however you want to put it. But there needs to be a plan for the after of what you are doing right now.
Awesome. So you talked about tunnel. Tell me, I want to make sure because I know we have another guest speaker. Did we get some text yet? I could.
No.
So.
Well, I'll talk about him. So.
So you talked about the tunnel, and you talked about you need to sometimes you get stuck in that tunnel, but you also talked about partnerships and relationships and collaborations. How do you evolve from being this? So what advice do you give to our students here in the Honors College from realizing, I'm a student today, but how can I transform through partnerships how I can live in my purpose?
By being present.
Okay.
I think later on today I'm going to have a Zoom call about creating those partnerships with an organization that does real estate. And if I were to invite them to the Emerge conference, I'm like, well, what would I go there for? I'm a very, very shy person. People who know me since I was a little girl who will tell you. But I'm the person who wants to be present as well. Somebody invites me to a chocolate festival. I don't sell chocolate, but why not go there? Sometimes we don't engage, as you were saying before, to be present. If you have faith and you believe that you are on this earth for abundance, for you to live a good life, for you to be mostly happy. Oftentimes, college students tell me like they want to do something and make a lot of money. Well, obviously, the money is good, but there's more to it. It's also finding the balance, finding your happiness, not being stressed. We could look at Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And with all the money that he had, if he wasn't living such a stressful life, maybe he would still be there. He could have been genetic, but how do you know? Because you don't want to spend a part of your life living with regrets, thinking, well, if I had done that, if I didn't work so hard, maybe I would not have missed this or have missed that. So the partnership, how I think I'm able to do it, I think I have a gift. So now imagine from electrical engineering, really a nerd, I just want to be there with my computer, I don't want to speak English, I don't want to deal with people, I don't like people. You don't like people, you always want people. And having to play that role, I would say being authentic. So a professor asked me to come here and speak. I know it's about making more, but I don't have the questions. He could ask me a question that I cannot script it. So I have to be genuine and I have to be authentic. And I think when people think about being present, we think about networking, we think about being authentic. So if I come here and I said, well, I'll do this interview, but I'd like at least 20 of your kids, of the students, sorry to call you kids because you're young adult, 20 of those young adults to follow me on Facebook. So he asked and I ask. So it's authentic. But I cannot come here with a different agenda, and that's what we need to do when we meet people. So my creation of partnership is when I meet people, I genuinely give them the benefit of the doubt, give them love, give them warmth. And then sometimes it grows, sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah.
But one thing that I would always tell you, especially that I see that there's more young ladies than men, follow your intuition. Always follow your intuition. I follow my intuition and I pray about it.
So follow your intuition, right? So last question before we get into Q&A. So again, this course is called Making Moves in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So what does making moves in Miami mean to you?
I said before that I love New York, but I think being in Florida, it was a divine purpose. I mean, the moves that I'm making here, I don't think I would have been able to make them in New York. I don't think. It's the warmth, it's the diversity, it's the people, it's the mosaic of everything that helps me feel like I'm moving. And oftentimes people say, so what is it that you do? Because if I go on a radio, I have a radio show, and I talk about health, and everybody says, well, I think she's a nurse or maybe a doctor. And I start talking about technology, and they're like, oh, maybe she's an engineer. And then I start talking about business, they're like, okay.
And you talk about the arts.
And I love the arts, so it just It's just me finding myself everywhere with the purpose of wanting to be happy. What I want to do is be happy. So my last cancer, when I refused to take chemo, my doctor told me that I have 4 months to live. So I called, which was like, I'm still friends with this doctor, but this was so uncalled for. You know, you're not God. I didn't know when I came in for you to give me 4 months with her. And we met several times, and he's still my doctor, and he's happy with me. So when he told me that I have 4 months to live, so I called a good friend of mine who writes, and I said, we need to write this book because this is what I want to live. So through the challenge of knowing that I might die in 4 months, I wanted to live something. I wanted to live something to the world. My story of resilience, my story of perseverance, though I call the book Perseverance. For example, this morning I'm supposed to be here. I left my house at 8 o'clock. I missed one exit, another exit, and I feel like I'm getting stressed to come and meet with you because I feel like, well, I want to be there. But why is it so difficult for me to get there? Because I'm on the other side of the parking lot. But I wanted to be there. It's not like I was lazy and didn't show up on time. So throughout my life, I realized that a lot of things that I had to do, I had to really want to do it. So through the challenge, you must persevere. Perseverance. You need to press forward. You need to know that I want to be here. My heart wants to be here. I would love to be here. So I'm gonna make it happen. And I did it happen with the help of God, the universe, or whoever helped me. So.
Awesome. Before we get into Q&A, please give DJ a round of applause.